Guess who's back? Back again. Arya's back. Tell no one. What's going on, everybody? Tom Grossi here with another episode of Game of Toms. Tonight we are reviewing episode 8 of season 6, titled No One. Now, last week we got a little excited, and there is a few reasons. One, we knew that these 3 episodes coming up, being 8, 9, and 10, are going to be some of the longest of the series. So I was expecting some high-quality action, gonna be crazy storytelling, gonna be awesome. But also, last week, with the Hound coming back, Sandor Clegane, there was almost a promise of there being a Clegane Bowl, in that you would have the Mountain face off against his brother, trial by combat, and finally that prophecy would finally be fulfilled. However, Tommen, you monster, have taken that away from me, my family, who doesn't even watch the show, and everybody else. And with that, Tommen has officially become worse than Joffrey, because Joffrey would never, ever ban trial by combat. But Tommen, you done messed up. You done messed up real bad, Tommen. Absolutely. But let's kick off this episode. Lady Crane going for that Oscar. Absolutely trying to win Best Actress for the year, and I think she will succeed if she doesn't get impaled by a stool, but, you know, those things kind of get in the way. So, Lady Crane, there was a lot of theories last week about that not being Arya. Maybe it's just a test for Jaqen. You know, maybe Jaqen was, like, dressing up because she was acting weird. She was just out in the open, but no, apparently it was Arya who was just acting very out of character last week, kind of going with the whole throwing money around, and also just waiting out in the open like no one's going to be trying to kill her. I don't understand why she was so surprised, like, you sent her to kill me. Well, you kind of messed up a little bit, but regardless. So we started with Arya, and I was thinking this was going to be an Arya-centric episode, and we did open with her, and we closed with her. We'll get to the closing in a bit. The Brotherhood without Banner got reintroduced last week, after they murdered kind of everyone as they were trying to build that sept when we were talking about the Hound. And there was the scene by the campfire where they're all talking. There was a finger in a butt. That was a little weird. But the Hound really making it difficult to be a man with that axe to the testicles. Really, really made me squirm. Because everything just hurt inside of me, and it kind of receded back up into the chest cavity. But somewhere, Kesha was singing Timber as the Hound was really just swinging away with that axe, killing some people. And Varys, it looks like we're not getting the tag team of Varys and Tyrion anymore. Varys is going on a secret mission saying that he needs to find friends and ships. Makes me wonder, maybe he's going to go to the Iron Islands, so who knows what's going to happen with that. Maybe Theon's going to find Dany, and then maybe Varys is already going to be going to talk to Euron in the Iron Islands. Who knows? But ships, men, and friends are in much need in Dany's camp right now. We finally got one of the trailers when they first dropped for this season. We got Cersei saying, you know, I choose violence. That scene happened, in which the Mountain literally did like a predator kill and ripped this guy's like spine head out of his body, which was just an awesome sight to see. I love the Mountain, like what he's turned into, and he doesn't say a word, just walks around, kills people every now and then, like someone who's just like peeing on the side of a wall, like did earlier in the season, or anyone who tries to swing on him. And if you are the Faith Militant, why would you ever swing on that man ever? His name is the Mountain, but now he's like a blue zombie monster. Ever, why would you ever do that? But that's how that happened. We also got Bronn and Podrick being reunited, which just feels so good because it feels right. It feels right in here. But we also saw the reunion of Jaime and Brienne, and I'm torn here, and help me out here. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is that back in season 3, where we had this whole Jamie kind of becoming a more complex character, that we had that hot tub scene, which was fantastic. That sounds so wrong. I mean, I guess bathwater. A hot tub sounds like they had sex, but they didn't. In which he says, my name is not the Kingslayer, my name is Jamie. He kind of opens up to Brienne, gives her the sword, whole nine. You want to kind of see them together, but at the same time, Jamie's stepping on Tormund's ground. So, Jamie, you're going to need to back up like yesterday, because you will never, ever compare to Tormund. And I swear, if Tormund gets killed next week in this Battle of the Bastards, I will not be a happy person. Absolutely not. I will totally not watch Game of Thrones for another week. And then I will give it up for a whole year until it comes back next year. But I love that dynamic between Jamie and Brienne, because Jamie's just a different person because Brienne is so not like Cersei. So they always have an interesting relationship. But we got the Joffrey name drop, and there was this idea of Brienne going in, trying to get this Tully army for Sansa. And you thought for a moment it was going to work, after the Blackfish is reading the letter. But it doesn't. The Blackfish just has way, way too much pride. Even at the end, you think that he's going to go with him, and he's like, no, I'd rather die in my home. Which it was, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say this was kind of like a little waste of a subplot. And it might just been a cool way to get some characters back together, but I feel like it didn't really go anywhere because Sansa's still left with no army. She still wrote that letter last week to Littlefinger. And then that's kind of it. I feel like not a lot of progression happened, but we'll get there in a second. Cersei also not getting those royal invites in the mail anymore. She's going to have to hang out with everybody else, with all the plebeians in coach, as she doesn't get the invites up to the throne room anymore. But as I said, banning trial by combat makes Tommen absolutely the worst character on Game of Thrones. Yes, he's worse than Ramsay. Yes, he's worse than Walder Frey, because he completely annihilated any chance for a Clegane Bowl. And there is another atrocity that I don't know if we've thought about yet. This is something that probably is not in the back of your mind, but it has been in my mind for quite some time. Sir Pounce, his cat, where is he? Who knows? Joffrey would have, probably murdered Sir Pounce, but Tommen, what happened to Sir Pounce? So please hashtag bring Sir Pounce back. Absolutely want to see that. If there's any redeeming quality about Tommen, it's the fact that he has cats, and his lack of cats make him even worse. So just want to put that out there. I was talking about, we had Tyrion, which is great scene. He's talking in the room. He's giving people wine. They're exchanging jokes back and forth, which is absolutely hysterical. And Tyrion tells a joke, which hit really close to home because nobody laughed. And that was really just my entire weekend of shows. It got real for a second, but it was a lot of fun. And then the Masters come up saying they're here to claim their property, and I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. They're here to get slaves because they can have slaves for 7 years. But no, that turned out to be something much, much different as they started attacking the literal city. Tyrion realizes he's wrong. And I like that Grey Worm really kind of steps up and is like, you don't know anything about leading an army. And I was like, actually, season 2, episode 9, Blackwater, Tyrion did a nice job. He had a nice pump-up speech. But regardless, more importantly, Dany's finally back. So I feel like Daenerys is going to kick this into high gear. Probably burn some of those people. You got some dragons back. Hopefully we get the holy trinity of dragons in which they just burn everybody. I'd love to see me some flying puppies again. That would be fantastic. But that'll pick up next week, I'm assuming, during the Battle of the Bastards. You also had Jaime meeting up with Edmure and having a very interesting conversation about their sisters. Cat got brought up again. And this has been kind of swirling over the internet, and the idea of, if you have not read the books, if you haven't read book 3 in particular, close your ears for here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a signal. I'm going to do, except I won't make the sound. Cover your ears until I do that. So, book 3 spoilers in case you didn't read it. There is a character named Lady Stoneheart, which is Cat brought back to life. Cat, of course, murdered during the Red Wedding. Well, I feel like this might be the time that she might actually come into the show, if at all, because they brought the Brotherhood back. This might be the time where Cat makes a reappearance. She is in the books. briefly, in which she can't speak, she gets resurrected, and she's just on the warpath, like killing everybody associated with the Red Wedding. So it would be very interesting to see if she actually comes back during this season, if at all, because I mean, like they've omitted characters before. Okay, no more spoilers. I'm sorry I had to do that. So you had that going as well. You have the Hound catching up with the Brotherhood, and there was a great scene where they're kind of negotiating on like, all right, you get to kill one of them. And he's like, no, how about two of them? All right, how about I just chop off a hand? It was pretty amusing, I'm not gonna lie. So you wind up having those people getting killed. And then, of course, to kind of put the Hound trademark on it, he essentially is like, oh, okay, this is just like Foot Locker, and pulls the boot off of the dead guy, who is still like kind of squirming for his life, and taking his boots, because that's the Hound we know and love. And finally, ending off with Arya, has kind of a awesome parkour running through with what is her name? Because I mean she doesn't have one. You know who I'm talking about though. And they're running through the streets. Doesn't look good for Arya. And I was like, all right, they can't pull the trigger on killing her. She has like way too much plot armor to kill Arya. Arya, I feel like, is an endgame character because she needs to go back and get one of the few remaining puppies, Nymeria, and actually do something with them that doesn't end in another puppy dying, because there's only 2 left. So I wanted that to end well. So Arya, using her training, fights in the dark, winds up killing her, adding her face to the Hall of Faces, in which you have Jaqen come, okay, look at you, like you're officially no one, and she's like, nay, I'm Arya Stark of Winterfell, and we out, we going home. So here's how I feel about this. I was very, very excited for when Arya first went over to become this crazy, super awesome assassin. I feel like the storyline got a little, like it got bogged down, nothing really progressed. I feel like a lot of it was just rocky montages of her getting beat up when she was blind, or like doing something wrong. Didn't really pay off too much. And I mean, now she's going home. I mean, yeah, she's like learned some new fighting techniques. But I don't know. It didn't really resonate with me, I think, as much as it should. But I am happy to see Arya finally making some progression. We only have 2 episodes left. The 10th one's supposed to be one of the longest in the series. Next week, of course, we have the Battle of the Bastards, so that should be an awesome episode. Episode 9 is usually always amazing. Hopefully it'll be a 10, because these last 3 episodes, I gotta say, I was really excited for this one. I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to give it like around like an 8, 8.5. I mean, it had some really cool moments, but nothing like really had a ton of impact. And I gotta say, it kind of closed off some like little storylines that kind of just got brought up, nothing really happened, and then they got let go. But let me know what you think down in the comments. But yeah, the last 2 episodes, I'm ready for them. I'm absolutely ready for them, and I'm ready for Ramsay to finally die. So we'll hopefully see that next week. But if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I love talking to you, both, everybody, after the show. It's fantastic. We're doing our theories down below, everything like that. Like, subscribe, don't, do what you gotta do. I love you for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. I'm Tom Grossi. Game of Toms. We out.